Should people get married for love or for stability? It sounds like a simple question. Almost too simple. But behind it lives generations of dreams, disappointments, sacrifices, and silent regrets. Because marriage is not just a ceremony. It is not just a ring, a document, or a photograph frozen in time. Marriage is a decision that echoes through decades. It shapes mornings and nights. It shapes children, identities, futures, and sometimes, it shapes wounds. So when we ask whether people should marry for love or for stability, what we are really asking is this. What is strong enough to carry two human beings through life when life stops being romantic? Let's begin with love. Love is the story we are told first. It's the song, the movie, the fairy tale, the spark that makes hearts race and time disappear. Love is the reason people believe in marriage before they understand it. Love is intoxicating. It feels like certainty in a world full of doubt. It feels like destiny choosing you back. When love is new, it convinces you that effort will always feel easy. That laughter will always come naturally. That compromise will never feel heavy. Love tells you, as long as we feel this way, everything else will work itself out. And for a while, that feels true. But love, in its raw emotional form, is not constant. It evolves. It stretches. Sometimes it weakens before it deepens. And this is where many people begin to feel confused, betrayed, or afraid. Because no one really warns you that love alone is not always enough to hold a marriage together. Not because love isn't powerful, but because life is relentless. Bills arrive whether you are in love or not. Illness doesn't ask how romantic you are. Children don't wait for perfect emotional timing. Loss doesn't pause out of respect for passion. And in those moments, love changes its voice. It stops shouting. It stops dancing. It becomes quieter, heavier, more demanding. And if two people have built everything only on the feeling of love, they may find themselves standing on something beautiful, but fragile. Now let's talk about stability. Stability doesn't make movies. It doesn't sell fantasies. Stability is not glamorous. Stability is planning. It is consistency. It is responsibility showing up even when excitement leaves the room. Stability is choosing someone who feels safe. Someone predictable in the best way. Someone who may not make your heart race, but makes your nervous system rest. For many cultures, stability has always been the foundation of marriage. Shared values, financial responsibility, family alignment, commitment to duty, and there is wisdom here. Because stability creates structure, and structure creates endurance. Stability says, even when we are tired, we will still show up. It says, even when we disagree, we won't disappear. It says, we are building something larger than our moods. But stability without love carries its own risk. Because humans are not machines. We crave meaning, affection, and emotional connection. We want to feel seen, desired, chosen. And when a marriage is built only on obligation, safety can quietly turn into suffocation. Two people can be loyal and still feel lonely. Two people can be committed and still feel invisible. Two people can do everything right and still feel empty. So the question is not love versus stability. The real question is what kind of love are we talking about, and what kind of stability are we building? Because there is a version of love that is immature, and a version that is resilient. And there is a version of stability that is nurturing, and a version that is restrictive. Young love often believes marriage is the reward for feeling deeply. Mature love understands marriage is the responsibility of loving deeply, even when feelings fluctuate. Real love is not just chemistry. It is character. It is not just passion. It is patience. It is not just desire. It is discipline. Real love says, I choose you again today, not because it's easy, but because it matters. And real stability is not just money or routine. It is emotional safety. It is trust. It is knowing someone will not weaponize your vulnerability. It is knowing that when life strips you down to your weakest version, the person beside you will not use that moment to leave. The marriages that last are rarely built on only one thing. They are built on love that learns how to become stable, and stability that learns how to stay loving. Because love without stability can burn out. And stability without love can dry out. But together, they create something powerful. A partnership. A shared direction. A life that is not perfect, but grounded. Some people marry for love and spend years learning how to build stability. Others marry for stability and spend years hoping love will grow. Neither path is wrong. What matters is awareness. Because the real danger is not choosing love or stability. The real danger is choosing blindly. Choosing love without asking hard questions. Choosing stability without honoring emotional needs. Marriage magnifies whatever foundation you build it on. If you marry someone because they make you feel alive, ask yourself if they can also make you feel safe. If you marry someone because they feel safe, ask yourself if they can also make you feel seen. If the answer to either is no, then the work has already begun. Marriage is not the finish line of love. It is the training ground. It teaches humility. It teaches communication. It teaches sacrifice without keeping score. And most importantly, it teaches that love is not just something you fall into. It is something you practice. Every day. In the small choices. In the hard conversations. In the moments where leaving would be easier than staying. So should people get married for love or stability? They should get married for alignment. Alignment of values. Alignment of vision. Alignment of effort. They should get married to someone willing to grow when love feels unfamiliar. To someone willing to protect stability without suffocating joy. To someone who understands that marriage is not about always being happy, but about being honest, respectful, and committed. Love will change form. Stability will be tested. But when both are nurtured intentionally, marriage becomes less about surviving life, and more about facing it together. And that is not a fairy tale. That is something far more meaningful. That is real.